You're listening to an episode of Metal Gear Resurrections. On this episode, I'm joined by me. It is a 2-year retrospective of what's gone on with this podcast and what I plan on doing forward. I hope you enjoy it. And as always, our intro and outro is by Fingers.
It's your fault! They're dead because of you!
What? He's right. I killed him with my own hands.
They were on your side! I'm on your side! And you turned them all to ashes!
They wanted you to shoot. It was that or be burned alive. Come on. Let's get this over with.
Wait. I won't scatter your sorrow to the heartless sea. I will always be with you. Plant your roots in me. You're all diamonds.
We're not burying them at sea. What then?
We'll make diamonds from their ashes. Take them into battle with us.
A shining light to our brothers in arms, even in death.
We are diamond dogs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Metal Gear Resurrections. For this episode, it's just me. I kind of wanted to make it personal. Not only that, I've chosen this date, September 15th, to release this episode. It is both my birthday and also the 2-year anniversary that I wanted to start this podcast. And, just to bring the listeners in and, just sit back, relax, and let's chat for a little bit. When I started this podcast, I didn't have much to go by. I was just basically flying by the seat of my pants here. And, it was one of those things where I wanted to get a voice out. I just didn't know how to do it or how to go about it, really. And just from listening from other podcasts, and at the time, it was, I believe, the ending of Metal Gear Mondays, for those who know that podcast. And I was still listening to the Kojima Frequency. We're still running. And, I was just trying to figure out, how do I get a foothold into this area here. And I didn't really see much in regards to Metal Gear podcast. So I was just like, what the fuck? Let me just throw my hat in the ring and see how it goes. It's mostly kind of a journey for me and for the people I've been able to, have been able to chat with. Bless them for, taking time out of their schedules just to chat with somebody who's relatively, they don't know. And get to know them. And, from that, it's one of those things where I just kept going with it, and I'm still going to continue to run with it. It's been 2 years, and, when I first started it was pretty bleak, I think. Maybe from my end that, there was not much to go by. Both, there was no new games at the time, and Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 were being taken out from the digital storefronts for what Konami said was licensing reasons due to historical footage, I believe. And I had to figure a way, what do I talk about other than the games? And what I came up with was that I kind of wanted to do sort of a Anthony Bourdain style digital travel, meeting up with other fans of the series and getting to know them and getting their voices out if they're not already out, but also if they're solidified, just to hey, if you haven't heard about this person, check it out. And it wasn't really until I believe a while in, I want to say, that Metal Gear D Model, aka Clint, kind of helped me put up my bootstraps and helped me kind of solidify this journey. And I want to I thanked them numerous times, and take this time on this platform to thank him again for kind of helping me, kind of showing me, giving me a light in what was a dark tunnel to figure out what to do with this. And guess what? Fast forward, we got games, Master's Collection, Delta, which for me is just absolutely fantastic. Think about it, not just for the older fans, but for the newer fans, people who haven't played this game yet, and it's getting a chance to them to see what this series is about, why it's so beloved, and to kind of showcase it. And I think it's gonna be a great time. It's a great period right now for fans of the series, and I just want to not just say anything, but just also bring everyone in and just be I had this has been a quite a journey. When I first started, I wasn't really talking much about myself. Some episodes I barely talk, but for the most part, if for context, if you don't know, this series is very near and dear to my heart, mainly because it was the series that me and my mom, who unfortunately passed away in 2010, we both kind of agreed to go and check out this series. It was back in 98. I was a teenager and I wanted to get out of the whole, I was a Nintendo kid. I had all the Nintendo, NES, Super NES, I had the Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all the things you could think about was Nintendo, I pretty much had. And, my tastes started to change. I wanted to get somewhere else where it's, a little more being my teenage self with a lot of full of angst. I was I'm a big kid now. I don't want to be constantly having to, save the princess of sorts. I mean, not to knock anything about Nintendo. Nintendo's been great, it's got me into gaming. And, Sony just kind of went into my teenage years, and so we went to FuncoLand and we checked out all the systems that were out at the time, and it was kind of a toss-up between the PlayStation or the N64, and I was just I want to steer away from Nintendo for a bit here and let me check out what Sony's got to bring, and what's their catalog. And we went through the wall of games and just looking at all the box art and just trying to figure out what game to go with. And the one that stood out the most for the both of us was that this clean, crisp Metal Gear Solid case. The game cover. It was just white with the red lettering. It was clean. It was crisp. It was really, really nice, and it had good eye appeal, I would say. And flip the back of it, and it just kind of reads straight out of an action film. And we decided hey, let's give this a try. And then as soon as we started the game, it just became a love affair that stemmed since 98. It's been a while, and now I'm also introducing it to my own daughter, who for the past 2 years I've kind of started ingraining her starting with V or 5, however you want to say it, Ground Zero's Phantom Pain. Just showing her the game. She's still little, but showing her the stories, and nothing that just kind of that's just not not truly inappropriate, showing only the appropriate things. The most she gets a kick out of is setting off decoy devices and blowing up vehicles, because she's small, so that's something that she would definitely be looking, that enjoys. And I just during 2 years ago, I was just my favorite podcast is ending, and unbeknownst to at the time, it just didn't realize how much work was going to be needed. And now I have today it's oh yeah, I definitely know why it ended. whatever reason it ended. It's doing a podcast, a lot of fucking work. It's one of those things where it's like you do it because you love it, not because you're looking for, some kind of acknowledgement. If that's what you're doing, all best to you. I mean, I'm not here to make money. I don't make any money off this podcast, and that's not what I was starting it for. I wasn't starting it to make money. I was starting it to basically start searching for people, looking for internet friends of sorts, and getting to know people. And through the slew of my catalog, I gotta say, other than Metal Gear D Model, I would say categorize as he's a true friend. And Lenny Not Dead, thank you for having the patience for doing the episodes. I asked if you want to come on. And I'm gonna say also Adam, aka Mr. Cropes, thank you for coming along and joining me on this journey as well. The ones that really stand out the most are I want to say 3 people, and that would be Maddie, aka Oh That's Raspberry, Amanda Lemon, who created the MGS Con and just has continued to go with it, and that's just been a great thing. And sadly, it was one of those events I couldn't make it. And the third, Shane Smith, who I've been trying to get her to come onto the podcast for a long time, and just thank you for coming on. And I forgot what I was gonna say, but thanks, Shane, for coming on the episodes and for giving me the shout outs on your podcast, Shadow Moses Cafe podcast subsistence, which is wherever you can get, search for it. It's on all major podcasting platforms, and those 3 stand out the most to me because three different avenues of the fandom. I just look back and I say wow, I got to talk to all these people. They got to talk to me, and it's been great. This is still ongoing. I'm waiting. Right now, I think we're still a little bit a month away from the Master's Collection, so I can't wait for that release so I can dive into it and kind of give my 2 cents on what it is. If somebody played the original versus what would be the Master's Collection, from what I believe would be the basically it's the HD collection brought onto modern consoles, plus whatever else they threw in there, which seems like a lot put into the package. And same goes with Delta. I've played the original, I've played the HD collection, and here comes Delta, so I'm very curious and very stoked and very happy to be able to experience this. And not just me, but also for the new gamers, new people who come into the fandom. Hey, this is gonna be a big treat. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I can presume, and this is probably gonna be the one a great moment here. And so going forward, we're gonna continue on. We're gonna obviously retool, ask upcoming new guests new questions. Still have recurring people coming back, and as always, gonna be doing some side missions with my brother, who I believe he is the genetic superior. He's got the superior genes, I believe. I may have the recessive, I don't know. We're still figuring that out, but it's been great. And I just want to touch base with the fans and just be hey, this is back to 2 years ago. It was just me, and it's kind of surreal that how times have changed. When I started this, I was just starting. I was becoming I was going to be a dad, and now it's I am a dad. Forever a fan of this series. Forever a fan of the man behind the series, Mr. Kojima, and just grateful that someone who like him came along with his creative mind, created this whole thing. I'm not just him, but I'm sure there's probably hundreds of thousands of other people working with him side to side in tandem, other creatives bringing in their own spin and then becoming part of the, what we consider canon. I don't know their names off the top of my head. I would just say this is not an encyclopedia podcast. I can't tell you who is the designer of such and such. This is mostly a fan who's basically had fun with this series and wanted to tell everybody else how fun this series is and how great it is, and the memories that came along with it. And okay, so we're gonna go forward, we're gonna continue on. I'm gonna probably do some new things in the background to keep the podcast fresh, keep it going, not make it so dry or monotonous, but also to implement new things. Like possibly I would like to do more of like live streaming, whether it's like playing with the games or maybe just even chatting with people. I don't know. I mean, that depends on the guests themselves. Sometimes people just don't want to have that like extra on top of like talking about their personal experiences, but that's not a problem. You know, I'm super flexible. To me, it's whatever the guests want. They're the boss when they come here. And other than that, that's pretty much it. The reason why I haven't had an episode in a while, I believe about like 2 weeks, unfortunately, our own little D-Dog over at Mother Base passed on, and it's just been a crazy chaotic time at this time. You know, I'm currently in between places. I'm moving, trying to get a house, trying to get the condo ready to be prepped and packed and sold, hopefully within the year. But I still want to continue, you know, running the train of the podcast and keep it going, keep the train running, basically. And that's what I have for you. I mean, we're going to continue. Currently working on getting people on the show, people who I think, you know, bring a unique take, bring a unique spin, and, you know, also bringing back some people I've had in the past to come back on and talk and maybe do a retrospective of their own, and we'll see how it goes. And as always, you know, if you guys want to reach out to me at Metal Gear Res for the podcast, or at Johnny_Flores Jr. Those are my places on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know, just Google it. Google Metal Gear Resurrections. It's gonna be popping up on the Google machine. Same thing goes with, you know, other people who I've come across, like, you know, the Kojima Frequency. You're looking for a really in-depth, funny podcast of what feels like the ins and outs of gaming and music, pop culture. Check them out. Type it in Google. Great cast, great crew. Same goes with Shane and Mike's podcast, Shadow Moves' Cafe Podcast Subsistence. Google it. Both these podcasts are going to be on major platforms. Same goes with Amanda Lemon. I believe they're going to start a second MGS Con, so mgscon.com. If that's not still available, just Google it. Google MGS Con. From what I can see, it looked like everyone had a blast. It went off without a hitch. I can only see what came in the forefront, what happened in the background. And I'm hoping to be able to get to chat with some people and see what was going on. And, you know, for me to them, I apologize to them as well. I unfortunately couldn't make it. I had other obligations back home, and I'm hoping to make it to the second one. And I'm hoping me and my buddy Clint, aka Metal Gear D Model, possibly teaming up with him to go to the second one. I don't know, we'll see. But, you know, other than that, be ears open, keep your eyes open, and I'll be coming out with new content soon. And I haven't forgotten about the Worlds of Power Metal Gear book. I'm going to start recording that, and I'm going to think about possibly having other people read the chapters as well. I definitely want to get that done and sent out, so that probably, I'm thinking mostly possibly by the holidays for that. And that's it. That's, you know, we're still running. It's been 2 years. It's been great, and I'm going to continue till basically I say no more, and who knows when the hell that's going to be. I mean, other than interviewing the older fans, here comes the new fans, and here I come. I'm going to ask, what does it mean to you? What does this series mean? How did you enjoy the games? And most importantly, tell me about your story. That's what it's all about. I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. A little postscript, what I'm hoping from the Master Collection and from Delta, especially from, you know, old timers, the old fans, and newcomers. I'm really hoping and would be very excited to see, creative wise, to see what comes out for, you know, on social media, on streaming platforms such as Twitch. I'm curious to see like what brings that out, and that would be something very exciting. Also, same thing with DS2, Death Stranding 2, whatever they're gonna call it, because so far as they just call it DS2, it'd be really great to see all these games and all these titles flourish and bring something out from the communities as well. That would be something really I'm anticipating to see and really looking forward to.